Tonight on Podcast Them Down, we find out which Major League Baseball team is the most metal and why it's probably the Orioles. Hail, Metal Nation! It is I, Tim, from Podcast Them Down, and joining me, of course, is Dave from Podcast Them Down, Doug from Podcast Them Down, Matt from Podcast Them Down, and we're here to finish what we started weeks ago in our time, but probably days or a week ago in podcast publishing recording time. So we went through the American League of MLB and assigned each team a metal score, and these are objective metal scores,
scientifically crafted.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So right now,
and indisputable.
Right. And right now, the standings are as follows. Your Baltimore Orioles with 8 out of 10. Cleveland Guardians with 7.55. New York Yankees with 6.63. Chicago White Sox with 6.38. Detroit Tigers with 5.8. Then Boston Red Sox at 5.13, and then all these scores are so low, I'll just read you the names in order. Mariners, Blue Jays, Angels, Rays, Astros, Athletics, Royals, Twins, and Rangers. So now we have to assign all the National League teams metal scores, and then we will have the complete rank. So there we go. All right, and that's why you're listening. And that's what you're about to hear. All right. National League East Division, starting with your, not mine, Atlanta Braves. Now, wasn't Baltimore's original team the Braves, or was that Boston? Who did
I think it was the Washington football team was originally the Boston Braves. The Commanders was the Boston Braves.
Shitty new name.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I knew there was something.
Kent, I think you might be having.
Oh, I'm muted. I said so much. I said we should come back to the Braves because
of their horribleness.
Yeah, but I was also thinking we, and I might mean the Imperial we here. I was thinking about some of our past scores, and I think we penalized teams for having racist names.
Yeah.
And then we penalized them again when they changed their racist names. And while that may not be right, it is metal.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty uncompromising. I'm sorry. Like, the Washington Redskins was a terrible name. I don't want to say that the Commanders is worse, but it's not better enough. It's not better enough. Like, I'm sorry. If you're telling me that a team that's got a structural sexual abuse in its employment space problem doesn't see that naming yourself after the male figure of oppression in The Handmaid's Tale might be the wrong message to send, like, what? You could have chosen anything. We're not doing that tonight, but that's my honest feeling.
Also, Commanders
could have been the Commodores.
They're not even the highest rank. It could have been Capitals or Commodores or Admirals. Or
it's DC, so it's the Commander-in-Chief is what they were going for, I think.
But they're not the Commander, they're the Commanders.
Right?
That's dumb. It's so dumb.
Stupid.
Right. But
and
that's
furthermore, the
sport.
former professional soccer team, Washington Diplomats name was available.
Well, I'm going to go ahead.
Shameful.
I don't care if we are coming back to it or not. I'm going to give the Braves a 0. And I'm ready to move on if you want to.
And I've also reviewed the Wikipedia, and the Atlanta Braves are originally the Boston Braves. There was multiple Boston Brave teams. Are they metal? Not really. Yeah, they're 0.
I concur.
They're getting a 1 from me.
Okay.
One, yeah, strictly because Atlanta's a pretty metal city, given that they hold the longest running and generally most appealing to me metal festival in the United States, Prague Power, USA.
Fair point, 0.5.
Okay, you know what? And Dave has reminded me of something.
I went by the stadium one time while I was there. That's why they get 1 point.
What's the racist
Braves,
thing the fans do? Is that the chop?
The
tomahawk chop.
Ugh. Awful.
Yeah, I'm going to give Atlanta a 3 and then deduct 3 now that I remember the chop.
Yeah, I remember that the Braves were once owned by Ted Turner, and as we've discussed previously on Podcast and Down, TBS used to fuck with me by putting things on at like 12:06, and for that audacity, I will give them a 0.6.
Man, I remember that. Can I also mention that every time I hear about Ted Turner, I think about the episode of Futurama, The Deep South, when Atlanta picks up and moves offshore.
I wish she was the other kind of mermaid.
With the lady part on the bottom and the fish part on top.
Right on the top.
All right, moving along. The Philadelphia Phillies. Now, a filly, isn't that a female horse?
It's a lady.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
The Philadelphia lady horses. You could ride a horse into battle. It's kind of metal.
Yeah.
Stop being so sexist, Tim.
What?
I'd like
you
to
can ride
draw
any horse
everyone's-
into battle. What the hell? What?
Let me draw you to the particular
Craven
metalness
innuendo.
of one of the most
Oh,
famous lady horses of all time.
Secretariat.
Nope, that's Loki Laufeyson. Mother of Sleipnir. Greatest filly ever to trod the fields of Asgard.
Oh, that's a pretty good filly.
Yeah. And the Philly Fanatic is just like an out of control vision from beyond, basically, like an eldritch mascot, if there ever was one.
I mean, that's true, but now I believe it's the second most metal Philadelphia mascot by
After
leaps
all,
and bounds.
Gritty is in a class of his own.
Right. So I mean, they're basically called the Philadelphias, if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that's the speed the average Philadelphia fan needs,
Well,
but I'm not sure that's pretty metal.
well, the apparently they became the Phillies in 1890. You know, there wasn't much to do back then. They're just looking around saying, "Wow, what's around me? Philadelphia and horses." So they're Philadelphia Phillies. That's how it happened.
Yeah. At one point, they were called the Quakers. I think that's a much more metal name than the Phillies.
I don't know. The Quakers were non-violent, weren't they? So
It doesn't matter. Quaker oats, that has nothing to do with the Quakers. You can just steal it. That's fine.
Yeah, that fucking Quaker oats, those are steel cut oats, man. That's metal as fuck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Wait till we do. Have we ever done a most metal breakfast?
Oh, we're going
we're
to.
saving it for Food Month.
Write that one down.
It's not
Phillies-
metal, but it's not metal. Either way, it's not more metal than the Astros, so I'm gonna go with 2.
I like that logic. I'm gonna say they're roughly twice as metal as the Braves, so I'm gonna give them a 1.2, which I think is generous.
Make it a 3. Philadelphia is an incredibly metal city and full of nice people.
I mean, I agree with you there, Doug, but I feel like the Phillies are the least Philadelphia part of Philadelphia. Like if the Phillies fell into a sinkhole, I think the sum total of Philadelphia would be better.
Well, and they're barely in Philadelphia.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I'm going to be with Doug here. I'm going to give him a 3.
All right.
There's some quality metal places in Philadelphia, and I remember the Phillies being somewhat of a threatening team in my childhood.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is. Were they good ever, like in the late 80s?
They were I think they had some like pennant runs even recently. They're always like in the hunt. They're a Philadelphia sports team. They're always good enough to disappoint everyone
Oh, sure.
At the beginning of the postseason.
They were champions in 1980 and 2008.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I was looking to see if they had any battery-related incidents. But,
I mean, you kind of have to assume they do.
Was that the Phillies game? Or well, anyway, let's move on.
No, that was
The Philadelphia hello. Yeah.
Jeez. Moving right along. My favorite baseball squadron, the Nye Mets. Short for Metropolitans, I guess.
Metropolitans.
And their logo is a baseball with the silhouette of that city over there and the bridge one would take to get to that city over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean they're from Queens, man. So
Yeah.
Other
Not
nicknames.
The Yankees.
The
Not the
Amazons,
Yankees.
the Metsies, the Miracle Mets, the Amazing Mets, and the Bad Guys.
I mean,
Ooh,
the
that's
bad
pretty
guys
metal.
is pretty metal.
That was only 1 year, 1986.
Oh, there's Mr. Met, and then they made Mrs. Met, who's like a living baseball. That's pretty metal.
Woo woo.
Are gender
I think-
conforming roles metal or not? I've been keeping up.
I think yes, if both are yes,
Yeah.
as long as it's done with there's no what am I saying? It has to be done in absolute terms.
Okay, yeah.
Rigidly
Yeah.
applied.
Yeah,
Or rigidly
metal is all
refused.
rigid rule sets.
Yeah.
It's either bold conformance or bold transgression.
All right, yeah.
Good.
So I'm gonna give them the
Conformance to our rules, to be clear.
I'm gonna give them a 5. There's nothing particularly metal or not metal about it, but lots of people hate them. And that's pretty metal. and this year they're doing very, very well, and people are mad at them for it. So that's
Oh, there's nothing more metal than being successful and then getting hated
Yeah,
for said success.
I think they get a 5 from me too, just because I feel like the Mets are the closest baseball analog to the genre of heavy metal. Like there's a lot of people who really like it. Everyone else questions why it even exists. There's lots of anger and resentment, and unfair comparisons. Yeah, that's a 5.
So in this analogy, what genre are the Yankees?
The Yankees are top 40. It's like you hate it. The world would be better if it didn't exist. But when Ariana Grande starts singing, you got to tap your toe.
You know, these arguments are a little more convincing than I expected them to be. I think I'm comfortable moving from my initial very low score up to a 4. Because, Matthew, you're right. There is something about the Mets that is appealing only to a very small but diehard group of people. They're like Islanders fans.
Yeah.
And initially, I was going to rate them low because when I think the Mets, I think fish, because that's their keyboard player's favorite baseball team. And
All right, who had
Yeah,
14 minutes?
You have won a free year of the Patreon.
Now, since we haven't determined scientifically, objectively, and once and for all whether or not fish is metal here on Podcast Them Down.
Oh, I think we've determined whether or not fish is metal.
Dave
I'm
wants
deducting
to
a point.
argue about it on a full episode.
Okay.
I do want to argue about it formally. At some
Okay,
point.
we will.
But I'm deducting a point for the Fish Association. So that's 4 points to the Mets.
Wait, you're deducting a... Okay, great. I also want to tip in that there's 2 kinds of Mets fans, which I think match with the 2 kinds of metal fans. So they're the people who are very like, I'm a Mets fan, very proud and defiant. And then there's the sheepish, yeah, I like the Mets.
Yeah.
And I think those are the 2 kinds of metal fans too.
All right.
They get a 4 from me. No,
Okay.
I'm going to take Dave's point and apply it to my score, so it's a 5.
Perfect. All right. So next is written on here as the Miami Marlins.
Merlins?
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Miami
I have a-
Marlins. Now, let me just address Marlins real quick. They have a fucking sword on their face.
Mm-hmm.
They are aggressive and will murder you.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's a metal fish. It's probably a delicious fish. Many things in Miami are in fact delicious. Now Merlin's is very power metal. It's a wizard. I don't know where this typo, if it is such a typo, came from, but I'm gonna have to. Do I use the infallible knowledge on this spreadsheet where it says Miami Merlins, or do I have to rate it based on Marlins?
Right.
I think there's precedent here. It isn't the precedent that we have to stick with the spreadsheet.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
because
it's
we
a
rated
spreadsheet.
the Ganfers.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
The
That's
New York
very true.
Danfers. So, well, I think wizards and Merlins, therefore, are just as metal as aggressive, murdering, sword-faced fish. So, and they're certainly more metal than the Mets. And probably more metal than the Mariners, the Tigers. Yeah, they're more metal than the Red Sox. They're going to be a 6.3. I think the Merlins are pretty metal.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give them a solid 7. Both in their Merlin and Marlin incarnations. They're pretty metal. I think it would be hard pressed, as Tim mentioned, to decide which is more metal. I also like how the Marlins / Merlins troll the NBA by having pink as one of their colors and defiantly calling it Caliente Red. They always had goofy uniforms. They had that weird orange, yellow, blue thing for a while. They inexplicably won, despite the fact that not a single person, including most of the Marlins, care about baseball in Miami, and yet they still won several times. So yeah, there's a lot of metal things to like about the Merlins.
Well, and they got the fucking guts to just put Miami in the name and not play to the stupid Fort Lauderdale, Broward County set. So it's a 7.
Nice,
Yeah, 7 it is.
excellent.
Sticking with
No,
Uh-oh.
3.
Everybody got it. Like, because it's really the swordfish fish that does it.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida Marlins. So my grandfather, like many young Jewish boys, I had a grandfather in Florida as I was growing up, and the Marlins, like,
Yeah.
I just
All right,
like
so for
that.
those completing their Dave bingo cards, podcasted down bingo, grandfather, Florida, and fish.
I can't wait. I can't wait for 60 years from now when Dave's grandchildren learn everything about their grandpa by listening to old episodes of podcasts in town.
yeah. Wow.
I feel like we're gonna have to move fish to the free square because it's a lock that he's gonna say it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's become a thing now. I can stop and make it more sparing if.
But who would have predicted that the personal story would involve a Florida grandpa?
You wouldn't think, right? But I ended up with a Florida Marlins hat as a kid, and I liked it very much. So I've got a soft spot in my heart for the Marlins. Still a 7. This is just a little anecdote I wanted to share. It doesn't impact the scoring at all.
No, I think we're all better for it.
We're just getting ready. All right, next. Washington Nationals. That's it's gonna be a 0 for me. There's nothing. It's the blandest fucking name. It's a bland arena. It's a good team, or it was a good team, not anymore. But no, it's and they have the president's race around the warning track, but it's presidents in another goddamn time zone. It's It's the Mount Rushmore presidents.
Yeah. I
What?
really
Everything about it's dumb. So 0.
I do wish they opened up to different presidents. Like I want to see Millard Fillmore crush Zachary B. Hayes or Rutherford B. Hayes and Zachary Tyler. They used to be the Expos. I like that. Senators is the only correct name for the Washington baseball team.
Why didn't they just do that?
I don't
know.
understand
it.
Or the Grays.
Same reason we got the Commanders.
Or the Grays.
Yeah, or the Grays.
Ugh.
Or the representatives.
Ugh.
Or the delegates. That's a 0.0001. I can't give them a 0, but for all intents and purposes.
They get a 2. Appreciate how they show solidarity with the folks of American Samoa and others who are American nationals, not afforded all the rights of citizenship.
Good point, Doug.
And yeah, their stadium is comfortable but grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that hideous, Walter Johnson, right? The ridiculous statue.
Yep.
That's all pretty metal. They're still the Nationals in Washington, D.C., though, so it's a 2.
Ugh. For me, I don't think there's anything particularly metal about anything surrounding the Nationals, their stadium, what has come of the neighborhood around the stadium, what has come of... If I'm going to a stadium and I'm getting like a $16 half smoke, is that metal?
It's one of the few event venues that actively tries to dissuade you from going there.
Exactly. Michelle and I like to go to baseball games, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to a Nationals game. They suck. I can get $9 tickets. I'm not going to go to a $9 baseball game at Nats Park.
I think
isn't
the Commander Stadium like worse to get to?
Ugh, it's in Landover, man.
You would think it is.
The Capitol Center is? It's a couple fields over from there.
I just realized I nodded on an audio medium. Sorry.
I've had less frustrating times getting to FedEx Field than getting to Nats Stadium. So, yeah.
Isn't that frustration metal, though?
That's why they get the 1,000th of a point or 10,000th of a point, Doug.
Dave, what's his score?
The same as Matt. Ugh.
All right.
Gross. And also, regarding FedEx Field, Dan Snyder's never getting a cent of my money again.
Yeah,
so I will never...
Virginia can have the team.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe we should just put the sea, like international waters or something, like offshore.
Well, how long until
float them out on a barge?
How long until Ted Leonsis buys them? Because he owns all the other teams, and he's about to put a bid into the Nationals.
I don't think there's anything that anyone can do to get Dan Snyder to sell. Quite frankly, I don't think there's any amount of money. Like, he'd have to be in financial trouble enough to need to sell the team before he would do it.
Matt's dying.
Sorry. I don't want to make this about the lousy football team.
Yeah. Well, you keep doing it. So let's move on to your Milwaukee Brewers.
Ooh, yes. Alcohol abuse.
Yes. They're from Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I get the impression, is very metal. I've been to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it means the meeting of two rivers.
Yeah, the fact that it was called out in Wayne's World, should give it a little boost. Brewers, it's all about beer. Beer is metal. Their logo is the glove, but if you look closely, it's an M and a B. Oh, very clever. And so they're gonna get an 8 from me. It's all the beer and the city falling on hard times, but still making it through.
Wow, I never noticed that about their logo before.
Isn't that awesome?
Fascinating. Yeah, that's a great design.
Not as good as the Hartford Whalers, but that's another episode.
Nothing is. Wow.
They were the Seattle Pilots briefly. Yeah, they're pretty metal. Downtrodden town. Blue collar profession. I'll give them a solid 6.5.
I think I'm going to have to toss in another 7 for all of the reasons that all of you fine folks have already listed. I mean, not much more to say. Also, they were kind of like the lovable losers when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like they'd come into town, and it would be a guaranteed win for the O's.
Yup.
And it's nothing quite being the underdog for being metal. So yeah, 7 to the Brewers for me.
Yeah, they get a 7. Cleveland is more metal, and the Guardians is that's right. It took 2 points off because they ruined the logo. Yep, it's a 7.
All right.
Ooh, if I can take it back for a second. In the intervening weeks since recording the first part of the MLB metal rankings.
You mean yesterday?
I mean yesterday.
Yeah,
I actually have been to a Cleveland Guardians game.
Oh.
And it delivered. Every time they score a home run or bat in a run of any kind, there are fireworks. And this happened yeah, it's awesome.
Well, you had already given them a 10, and I gave them an 8.
Did you get your picture taken with the Guardians of Traffic?
I took a picture of the Guardians of Traffic. We didn't actually go all the way down to see the bridge, but yeah. And then I took a picture of myself going like that in front of the Guardian sign.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to give Dave a 7.
St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis got the Arch, got some blues, got some beer companies, right?
Yeah.
Mega breweries.
Anheuser-Busch.
I don't care about your stinking bird. I'll give it a 3.
Mark McGuire was
he was
Cardinal, wasn't he?
He was a Cardinal.
So they've got the legacy of juiced up, roided out mutants.
Ooh, I did forget about that.
Hammering balls with clubs.
Hacking scandal. Man, what's that?
A hacking scandal.
They had a hacking, so they're cheaters. All right.
Wow, that's not metal at all.
Oh, that's kind of metal.
I don't think they're as metal as the Brewers for sure. I'm going to give them a 5 just because their logo, like their hat logo, is unnecessarily complicated. And they have to put the little ST in there. I don't like their actual bird sitting on a baseball bat logo, but I do like their hat logo.
Their LST.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, they're just fine. They're a bird name team. Cardinal is the most overused bird for sports. Yeah. Meh.
At one point, they were known as the Perfectos.
That's a good name.
That's a better name.
That's a pretty awesome name.
Yeah, they get a 4. St. Louis is a great city. I'm done.
Yeah, Doug said it all.
4. Okay. All right.
What was Dave's?
Dave is also a 4.
I agree with Doug. St. Louis is a great city, and that's it.
All right. Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
All right. So Cincinnati, known for its chili that has nothing in common with any chili anywhere else.
Yep.
It's other than you eat it. Reds, I guess they were See, they were a charter member of the American Association in 1881 before joining the National League in 1890. So I guess red was a new color at the time, so they were excited to put it on there.
Red being just recently invented.
Right. I like how they haven't changed their logo in quite a long time.
No.
And the whole Pete
Basically
Rose thing.
Uh-huh.
Pete Rose was
wow.
a red. Banned from baseball for life for cheating,
Forever.
even though he was the best player of the era.
Betting on baseball. Unreal.
Yes, but he was playing the game as well. So there's a little bit of a conflict.
Hey. He was managing.
Right.
He didn't bet on it when he was playing, just when he was the coach.
Run on every swing. I want you to beat him. The bases are loaded. Beat him. All right. Yeah, so didn't he have a gambling problem before that too?
Oh,
So like
he did.
Wasn't it like very obvious?
You don't go from zero to betting on your own baseball
Yeah.
team as an MLB manager.
It's like you don't like smoke a cigarette one day and the next day you're shooting heroin.
Right.
Right.
Here's a
Or doing
progression.
crack in a hotel room, for example.
Hey, the bitch set him up.
Oh, they have a retired number 18 for Ted Blazewski. I just like that. Oh, they retired Pete Rose's number. So
They retired his number because it was used for gambling. It's like, no one will be wearing that number ever again.
well, so I'm going to put them
man.
up there with the Brewers. I don't know if they're exactly the same as the Brewers, so I'll give them a 7.9.
I'm gonna give them an 8 here. Number one, Pete Rose to this day has not apologized for what he did. He was in the news not a month ago, refusing to apologize. I
That's
also
metal.
like the name.
That is metal.
I like the name Johnny Bench. Like, I know that's a baseball player, but I always imagine like an anthropomorphic bench running around.
I'm going up to
I think-
8.5. Wow.
I think that's charming. They had an era when they were really good in the 70s, in which they were called the Big Red Machine, which sounds metal as fuck to me. They're Cincinnati. They have a big chip on their shoulder. I have no idea what C this is. It looks like someone's granddaughter drew it, and they just said, we're going with that for the next 130 years. So for all these reasons, you know what? They're a 9.
Wow.
You know what? I buy all that, and the way they kind of flirt with communist imagery and all that, sort of inadvertently.
They're mustachioed. It's almost a Stalin-esque mascot when he's portrayed with his mustache.
I'm sure that C came from some anarcho-syndicalist book.
See, Soviet, yeah.
They were just like a version. They were like a chapter of the Wobblies that started playing baseball and they just forgot about it in the 1880s.
Well, that's like that cult that played baseball.
Yeah.
What were they, the Davidsons or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was literally a sex cult, but they happened to be amazing at baseball, and they barnstorm to support their sex cult.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry.
I think I owe you guys a rating. I think 8 is inappropriate because I saw Dragon Force in Cincinnati once.
Oh.
And that was pretty fucking metal.
That's
He took a point off because of that.
Well, yeah. The baseball team can't be as metal as that night that I got to eat chili and watch Dragon Force melt faces. And I say chili only in the loosest sense because there was spaghetti noodles involved.
I think my new favorite phrase is the phrase spaghetti noodles.
All right. Chicago Cubs. There's something, non-threatening about a baby bear. You know, like, you're not afraid of it. You just want to go up and give him a little hug. You know, A little bear hug.
And then you come to the baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the Cubs, shit. I always get Disco Demolition and 10 Cent Beer Night confused. And were the Cubs involved in either of those?
10 Cent Beer Night was the Cleveland team of the 70s.
Cleveland team.
Yeah.
And Disco Demolition was
Disco Demolition.
It wasn't Chicago, but I think it's the White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox and Tigers. All right. So, in light of all that, they can't even touch the White Sox, who I gave a 7, and they can't touch the who's the other team? I already forgot. The Cleveland, who I gave an 8. So I'm gonna give them a 4. I mean, and almost all of those are just Chicago points, and maybe weren't they the team that forever everyone got to go? The last time they won a pennant, the Ottoman Empire still existed. Was that them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they'd get a 7. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. I like how condescendingly you asked. Are you done?
Yeah, well, it just went a beat long.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I'd apologize, but I'm sorry I don't apologize.
All right, so they'd be a 7 if they'd kept their 1941 through 45 logo, which I highly recommend everyone look at on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
they didn't.
Whoa, that's amazing.
So it's a 5.
It's another logo that looks like someone's granddaughter drew it.
It looks like the shoulder patch from the Boston Bruins, the bear that they wear, like got a dart in its ass and is just now realizing it before the sedative kicks in.
That's a very angry bear.
It's like they heard Tim's critique and then tried to address it, but it's still a cub, so only get so far.
I also like how the cub in this logo is looking to the left, so it's like angrily like her.
There's a picture
he's looking behind himself.
There's a picture of their mascot whose name is Clark with the Orioles bird. And by the way, Oriole bird is the name of the mascot for the Orioles. Birds don't have names.
No, they don't.
It's true. My mother-in-law's bird is named Lady Bird, although they are Texans, so the bird is named after, Lady Bird Johnson.
Lady Bird Johnson.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's different. Man, the Cubs.
Forget what the bird is if it wasn't in the name.
Yeah. She is a lady, all right. Man, the Chicago, speaking of ladies, the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
I did my undergraduate work.
So ladies. Check the ladies box.
Yep. So I did my undergraduate work in Indiana, and actually, incidentally, my only higher education work.
It's a personal story.
Due to the proximity to Chicago, the Cubs were like the most popular team on campus.
Okay.
And so my overwhelming and enduring image of the Cubs in my mind is of all of the sorority girls with their Cubs hats, because everybody had one.
Okay.
They all wore them all year long. So I'm going to give them 1 point for the ridiculous 1940s logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another point
Wait
for the
for this
curse,
to add to 10.
They're a cursed. It's not going to get up to 10. The curse of the Billy Goat, right? The guy who's made to take his goat out and not allowed to watch the end of the game, so he cursed them.
Yep. That's them.
So, yep, 2 points to the Cubs.
Okay.
Because I don't find them to be particularly metal.
I hate to do this, but I agree with Dave. Much like Boston, the Cubs were only interesting when they were losers. And how are they gonna lose this time? and when they won, who gives a shit too?
All right.
Also, by the way, your little win-loss flag, go fuck yourself.
All right. Pittsburgh Pirates. All right. Pittsburgh sucks, but it's undeniably a metal town. Pirates are metal. They had that big cocaine scandal in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's pretty metal.
yeah.
There's another drug-related Pittsburgh Pirates story.
Okay.
Tell us about your time in Pittsburgh, Dave.
Now, this is unrelated to my personal time in Pittsburgh. Now, it may surprise you to learn that the only times I've been to Pittsburgh is to see Fish concerts.
Wait, what?
Really? Wait, hang on. I have a. That was more of a scared one.
No.
How about this? What?
Yeah, it's actually true. I've also passed through Pittsburgh. I've never had any other reason to be there.
Okay.
All right.
What does this have to do?
So on June 12th, 1970, Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter while tripping on LSD.
Oh, that was this team? Yeah, I've heard this story. It's a good story.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole story. He was on
That's
LSD
basically
and he
the
threw a
story.
no-hitter.
I mean, that's a pretty impressive story, actually.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is an astonishing tale. Somewhat sadder to think about in retrospect because he said after retiring that he had a substance abuse issue and that he had never actually pitched without the use of drugs.
Wait. Wow.
But yeah,
Well, now I'm
it's
sad.
an insane tale. He in the first game of a 2-game doubleheader at the San Diego Stadium, he reportedly, under the influence of LSD, threw a no-hitter. After they had arrived the day before, he apparently went to a friend's house, taken a couple hits of acid, and thinking that it was the day before it actually was, took a full hit immediately before game time, and then was told by his girlfriend, "Oh shit, you need to be at the stadium to pitch." Drove him in. Arrived at the stadium at 4:30. Game starts at 6.
Wow.
And then he proceeds to throw this astonishing game while high on acid.
Maybe the other team was stealing signs. And since he's tripping, he didn't see a single sign. He's just like,
You never know. As he said, "I can only remember bits and pieces of the games. I was psyched. I had a feeling of euphoria. I was zeroed in on the catcher's glove, but I didn't hit the glove too much."
Hey. All right.
This is anyhow. That long rambling story, man. The Pittsburgh Pirates, though. I think I feel like I've given out a lot of 7s tonight.
Is this going to be another 7?
Another
is.
7.
It's another 7 for all of the reasons I think that Tim you mentioned.
Well,
The whole running wild metalness connection too.
yeah, I'm going to have to go between the Seattle Mariners because Pirates are just a better form of Mariner. And then a more metal one. And but not quite as high as the Merlins or Marlins. So somewhere between those, I'm going to lean more towards what I scored the Merlins and give them a 6.1.
Okay. I mean, Pittsburgh is a pretty metal town. Historically, their teams are pretty metal, except the Pirates. And so I meant except the Penguins. That's not very metal. I believe we objectively
Penguins live in Antarctica, the coldest place.
They're kind of metal. I mean, they're not like cardinal, not metal, but they're still. I believe the Penguins are the.
On the scale of birds and metalness, I'd say they're at the top. They're towards the top, but
they're in the last third. They're in the upper third, but like a king vulture, a harpy eagle, a cormorant. All these are more metal than penguins. But anyway,
that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. This isn't rating metal birds. This is rating metal teams. I think Dave 7 is correct. They're pretty metal. Pirates are metal. They have had all kinds of wacky logos. Their current logo, again, falling in line with our what a metal baseball logo looks like. It's something drawn by a kindergartner. It's just like a wacky spiky P. Vaguely, but not at all Old English. They've had many iterations. Honus Wagner was a Pittsburgh Pirate back in 19 whatever. And Obscurity is metal. So yeah, that's 7.
Their 1922 logo looks exactly like they called up the Detroit Tigers logo maker and said, "Make us one."
We want a letter too.
I love Pittsburgh. It is truly the Paris of Appalachia. No, that's what they call it.
I know.
It's a fair moniker.
It's not hilarious to call it that.
It's a low
the people
bar.
are
That's all I'm
so
saying.
friendly there, and
They put fries on sandwiches and think it's good.
they think it's better than Baltimore, and it isn't, even though deep down. Moving on.
I'm going to start calling Baltimore the Toulouse of the Chesapeake.
I don't. They got the colors. I like the. They got Baltimore's colors, to be clear.
That's true.
And most of their sports teams do. All of them. Do they have a basketball team?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I disagree with the metalness of Pirates. They're just shitty criminal boaters. I don't see what's metal about that. Never have. That piracy is metal.
Piracy, but not pirates.
Not pirates in the Pirates of the Caribbean sense.
Okay, all right.
So you get a
They
8.
have the Pittsburgh has an ABA league. That's the American Basketball Association team called the Steel City Yellow Jackets.
Well, I mean, that's a 10 right there.
And
if you were a Steel City Yellow Jacket, hell yes.
What year is it? Because I feel like that's a 1973 news item.
Founded 2014.
What?
Really?
Yeah, let's see, are they still?
I feel like they've got to have like mustard colored uniforms and stuff. Yeah. It's the Pittsburgh Yellow Jackets.
There's not too much information here. And then their soccer team is the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And yes, they all wear black and yellow. So, all right. So we have finished National League East, National League Central. All that's left is National League West.
Oh my.
And then we will know, all the counting will be done. And then we will have our most metal team.
I'm excited.
San Francisco Giants. So the Giants, Giants, just the concept is metal.
Giants are metal.
But no one really sings about them unless you're talking about like Jotun, San Francisco is the only team I know that has a Metallica night every year. Pretty metal.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit a home run, it goes into the water, so pollution is metal. And they have those kayakers out in the bay in all the pollution, scooping up the balls. Yeah, so
that's pretty metal.
Yeah, so I'd say they're probably slightly more metal than the Pirates. So I'm gonna go in 6 and 6.2. So just to point out that I'm being self-consistent, they're lower than the Merlins and higher than the Pirates.
Did they have that World Series with the earthquake?
I think that was the Dodgers.
That might have been the Dodgers. Yeah, no, I think you're right, actually. Earthquake World Series.
You're listening to Matt Google.
Oh, it was the Giants there.
Oh yeah.
It was the Oakland Athletics. Oh, it was a Bay Area playoff World
okay.
Series. It was the Athletics versus the Giants.
I was mistaken.
The Earthquake Series, the Bay Bridge Series, the Battle of the Bay. The Giants are pretty metal. I like orange.
To me, the Battle of the Bay would be the Aberdeen Ironbirds against the Bowie Bay Sox.
Okay, well, other than the Ironbirds,
you're not talking about no Chesapeake Bay.
I'm not talking about the Chesapeake Bay. I'm talking about the San Francisco Bay. Okay, what's not metal is the word candlestick, and I believe they play in Candlestick Park.
Yes, but if you knock over this candlestick, you have a conflagration. So,
and there was the San Francisco fire in that earthquake in 1906.
Knocked over the fucking park, it would be metal, but it's not now.
Well, I mean, they did that, didn't they? 6.5.
Oh, they were the New York Giants until 57. I thought they were older. Oh, they moved to San Francisco
all the teams
in 58.
moved.
Yeah,
the Dodgers, the Giants, they all sort of came over starting 54, 55, 56, somewhere in there.
I'm pretty sure like 70% of all baseball teams were at one point a New York team.
Right.
So it's interesting because if you ever hear douchey commentators refer to the New York Giants as the New York Football Giants, there were the New York Baseball Giants at one point.
Yeah.
You had to differentiate.
Bingo.
Holy shit, they used to be called the New York Gothams? That's much better than Giants.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's a great name. I think
one of their retired.
The
I just need to read this. One of their retired numbers is number 36, Gaylord Perry.
All right, 6.57.
No, I think for the sake of getting the score in, I'd like to register a 6 of my own. I think these arguments have been compelling.
Okay.
For the metalness of the San Francisco Baseball Giants.
So did the Football Giants thing add or take away a point from the base score?
It does not impact scoring.
It was just an aside.
Just a little aside. A fun fact.
A fun fact.
Maybe not
so go all the way to 7. Giants is a pretty metal concept. They got the colors. The original San Francisco is a really metal place for good and in good and bad ways. It's overwrought. It's not the courthouse, the Hall of Justice. There's a lot of that. It was the original imperial city of California. Now Oakland's more metal, but it has that history. So it's a 7.
Oakland must be...
Okay.
Yeah, we already did Oakland. I was wondering. Oh, yeah, and you too are being self-consistent because you gave Oakland an 8.
Well, you know, he is Bay Area Doug.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just pointing out how objective we are. So,
I mean,
next is the Los Angeles Dodgers, formerly the Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers, and apparently they only had that name for 1 year.
Oh man, I wish they were the Trolley Dodgers now.
Here's the history of. Let me give you the entire history of their name, going backwards. Los Angeles Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers, then from 1914 to 31, they were the Brooklyn Robins. Then before that, the Dodgers, then the Trolley Dodgers, then the Super Boss, then the Bridegrooms, then the Grooms, then the Bridegrooms, then the Grays, then the Atlantics, then the Grays again. So they change their name almost every year, or at least once a decade for quite a long time. Yeah,
that is a wild change of names.
It sure is.
I mean, if they were the Los Angeles Superbas, this contest would be over.
I want to see another modern team refer to themselves as the Bridegrooms. Shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's true too.
Hey, we're the Washington Bridegrooms. Anything would have been better than fucking Commanders.
I would wear a Bridegrooms t-shirt.
Hell yeah.
Well, so I get the same vibe out of everything the Dodgers do that I get out of the Yankees. So they're just the Yankees of the West. I gave the Yankees a 6.5, but I'm going to have to deduct points because Motley Crue and all those shit bands came out of LA. So I'm going to go with 5.5.
You know, I like where your head is.
You're right. 4.5 it is.
They are the Yankees of the West, but unlike the Yankees, they have the added value of spite, a very metal characteristic. There are people who like them despite the fact they moved to LA. Then there's all these insipid LA people who very much claim it as an LA team. I'm thinking Larry King, for example, playing both sides of the field, being an LA guy, but also Brooklynite, eating his ice cream and having a dribble on his dress shirt in the front row, like during the World Series or something.
Baseball. That was my Larry King.
So
it was terrible.
I gave the Yankees an 8. I'm actually going to give the Dodgers an 8.5, just because I think they're a little more metal, and they had the guts to fly to LA.
Oh man, I was going to say I don't need no thinking because there's an easy rule of thumb here. I gave the whatever the team, Anaheim, California Angels, Los Angeles Angels, a 4, and the Dodgers are twice as metal.
Yeah.
A lot of high scores here.
I'm going to honor Matt's argument by giving it a 9.
Wow. Holy shit. Wow.
You know, they do have the Dodger dog.
Oh, yeah.
Their very own, like, north and south of the buns, enormous smangin' hot dog.
Yeah.
And that's got to be worth at least a point. For me, at least. Because
there were 1 point. All right.
1 point. I don't know. What's metal about dodging? What are you dodging in LA?
Traffic?
Traffic?
Depending on where you are in LA.
It's easy. Just walk slowly.
Yeah.
And where you're stealing packages from trains, you might be dodging trains.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of arson and car chases.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smog.
This is pretty exciting stuff you're describing here. I don't know. I'm not feeling like the Dodgers are all that metal. I like the hot dog aspect. I'm giving them a 3.
Hot dog aspect. Hot dog. And remember, podcast downers, a solid 30%, 33% of that 3 is hot dog based points.
I'd say closer to 66%. The hot dog is really kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
All right. Next up, the San Diego Padres. Just a short 2-hour drive south of the Dodgers. So they don't use blue anymore. So I bought this hat before they rebranded. They wear like dark brown and a off-white now.
Yeah, they went back to like a 70s kind of color scheme.
Yes, 70s is perfect. It looks like I don't know. But they also shamelessly try to draw in the military crowds because of the giant naval facilities there. They got
right.
They got the brown camo uniforms. They're alternates. And I think they have 2 different camo uniforms.
If that were the only uniform they wore, that would be very metal.
Yeah.
They got the name. I assume, is based on all the missionaries.
It is. It is. So it's Franciscan Padres, I do believe.
Yeah, so
There's
they're trying to eradicate the indigenous culture, while that's and replace it with Catholicism, which is tragic, but possibly metal as well. They are the only team in California not to have won the World Series.
Yeah. For some reason, there's a picture of their mascot, a friar, wearing fatigue robes, which is something I now need to find and buy.
Oh, there it is. The swinging friar. Yeah, so it looks like he's just wearing army camo, complete with the American flag patch, but he's also a cartoony friar, complete with the rope belt. That's ridiculous.
And then
apparently there's this chicken there too.
Yeah, the San Diego chicken is also involved. But the chicken has this awkward relationship with the team itself, which is incredible. That San Diego chicken story is too weird to even be discussed on this podcast. But yeah, the chicken is a big important thing.
I like chicken.
The swinging friar mascot is so creepy.
Yeah. I like their SD logo. I like the fact that they've chosen uniform colors that are best reserved for a McDonald's dining room 30 years ago.
I want to address the logo. It's the same as San Francisco, and it's the same as LA, and it's the same as St. Louis without the T, and it's it's just two interlocking letters. It's I sound like I'm complaining, but I think it's just classic and straightforward. I don't think it lends to their metalness.
But I think it does, because I think, okay, yes, it's somewhat of a coincidence that they happen to be in a place called San Diego, but I think their interlocking letters look particularly metal. It looks like implements of torture or, killing arts, like a bow and like a curly sword kind of thing. I think just the letter forms are well done. There's lots of ways you could fuck it up. Like, this wasn't made by a kindergartner. This was made by someone with at least a day and a half of graphic design school before he dropped out. So, I mean, I think it's really well done. Much like the DC Grays DC logo, which I think is much better than the W. And yet, excuse me, we don't use it. I'm sneezing mad about that.
Well, I have to give these Padres, the official logos, credit, because if you were to take away the years these were in effect and just say, Matt, what year was that made? You'd get it right every time.
Right.
I've never seen a more 1985 logo than that one.
Yeah, and that's part of the San Diego lifestyle. You got to be ready to be here with the cusp of graphic design greatness.
I'm still trying to decide if the shameless pandering to the military makes it more or less metal.
I don't know. Pandering.
Depends on the metal band.
Seeking a different kind of fan.
Well, I'm going to go with a perfectly average 5. They're perfectly average.
This is fair. I can only bring myself to give the San Diego Padres 4 points. This ridiculous swinging fire. Their second mascot is a chicken. Like,
the KGB chicken.
Going on here?
It is the KGB chicken.
I don't find the Catholic Church to be particularly metal.
Thank you, Dave.
You heard it here first.
Even though,
I mean, you should be saving this for we rank the metalness of the world's religions, but
I think Catholicism is going to end up being more metal than most of the Protestants.
You're right. I don't know what I'm talking about. Catholicism informed the pomp and circumstance of all the metal that I like. So Maybe it's a 5. It's a final answer. It's a 5.
Take that, United Church of Christ. They're 6.
Yeah, right on. What's that beautiful park they have there?
Petco
the
Park.
baseball
When I
park?
went, it was Petco Park.
No, not even the famous park.
Oh,
Had one of those expositions there.
was that wasn't Balboa, was it? Both expositions were held in Balboa Park. Many of the Spanish Baroque style. You can read Wikipedia to yourself.
Oh yeah, and that is the museum of what's the anthropology museum, but it's got some like.
Oh yeah, I think
it's
it
kind of interesting and offensive and interesting all at once.
I think the Museum of Man.
Yeah, that's it.
But now it's called the Museum of Us. And it's like in a weird cathedral-looking thing. Yeah. I mean, San Diego is where we're relocating the podcast very soon. But
great city.
Any month now.
All right, Colorado Rockies. I don't know. That is very. They do play at Coors Field, so that's metal.
That's a little metal.
I've seen a baseball game at Coors Field.
Were the Rockies
Now, I was
involved?
sitting... the Rockies were involved. Okay. I was sitting in the rock pile, which is their bleacher area in the outfield. But it's... They've done a very good job of trucking in rocks to make it feel like a natural, mountain outcropping. So I'm going to give them a base 5 points for the excellent set design.
Okay.
Super metal there. They're also at altitude. So it's a taxing environment to play in. So I'm going to give them another point for that. 6 points to the Colorado Rockies for those two reasons alone.
I like your analysis, so I will agree but disagree and give them a 5.
Colorado's a pretty chill place. Now my headphones came unplugged, so I missed Dave's entire analysis. It's just interesting. This is like his highest score in a long time. They were getting like a 3 or a 4 from me, but I'm gonna take a leap of faith. Blaze Bayley maiden song and go with a 5.
I mean, I feel like the Colorado Rockies would be a lot more metal if they were avalanching. So if they were the Colorado Avalanche, they'd be getting a lot of points for me. I believe we determined that they were the most metal hockey team, if I'm not mistaken. Going back to the interlocking letters, Tim, I believe just a team ago, you were saying that anyone can do interlocking letters and it's the same trope. I would like you to look at
they did do it differently.
Garbage bullshit. Just type 2 letters in Microsoft Paint and send it to the printer job they did here.
Look, established in 1993. That is 1993 graphics right there.
That is 1993 graphics.
Someone just got Word perfect and said, I can make you a logo.
Yeah, that's not timeless. That's garbage.
I know I've given them a fairly high score, but putting that aside, is there a single Colorado team name or logo that they didn't just completely sandbag?
No. You're absolutely right there.
Wait, what's the Nuggets logo?
The Broncos.
The Nuggets is a mountain with 2 crossed pickaxes and a basketball. I kind of like that one.
Nugget. Is there even a nugget on it?
The fucking Nuggets, and
the
you
Nuggets
don't put a nugget on that.
The Nuggets are implied within the mountain that you have to extract using the fucking pickaxe.
Like, this is a great logo for the Colorado Rockies, but not the Denver Nuggets.
we're from Baltimore. We can't deal with that kind of abstraction.
Yeah.
We got to
Well,
name our mascot what it is.
I will say that the Rockies logo is in fact just terrible. It's the worst one in the state, easily.
It doesn't even have a rock in it, let alone E's. I can't give them anything higher than a 3, so I'll give them a 2.
You're right, I will drop mine to a 4. All right, last team.
Ooh.
Some doubt has crept in, so I'm going to a 3. My leap of faith failed.
Well, that's why you shouldn't.
If only your headphones had worked and you would have heard
failure,
Dave's amazing rationale, you wouldn't be making that decision.
I'll make a commitment to the listeners. I'm going to listen to Dave's thing when this is released in months, and then if I change my score, I'll let you know.
Okay, that's fair.
That is fair. All right. Arizona Diamondbacks, colloquially known as the D-backs, which, if you glance at, looks like it says D-bags.
Yeah.
So they get a 0, and I'm just done.
Oh, wow.
Real quick, can someone explain the logo? I know you have registered your 0, but if you look at this logo, so it's an A, right? And it's got like this snake-like texture on the left. But what is this thing in the middle? Is the negative space supposed to be a snake head within the A?
Well, the thing in the middle is clearly a snake tongue.
Yeah.
But
we're looking up at the snake from below?
I think we might be looking at snake mouth, and the bases of the A, the serifs, are actually snake fangs. And we're looking at the snake striking the ground and his tongue in his mouth.
I don't know. This logo, probably someone had a great idea and then wrote it down on a napkin, but then spilled his gin and tonic on it, and it kind of ran. And he's like, "Oh, what was the idea?"
No, this is precisely someone made an awesome snake A, and then it went up to the C-suite and ended up looking like this.
It's still a way better 90s logo than the Colorado Rockies, though.
Well, yeah, it has that going for it. I like that there's secretly the D-bags, personally.
I feel like that's a joke someone played on them and they didn't get it.
Yeah, they're just like, you sure are. They used to be braver and have more purple and baby blue in their uniform, but they kind of backed off of that.
Well, it's all kind of moot because I had to deduct another point from Colorado because they're not the Denver Rockies, they're the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
Similarly, the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're not from the entire state. Fuck you. You get a 1, and that's based entirely on the promise of the metalness of a serpent, which does not get delivered on.
Right.
Because we can't figure out what orientation the potential serpent in your logo is. Is it below? Is it the A's? What's going on? It doesn't work.
This team could have been the Scottsdale Rattlers. Would have been metal as fuck. And yet here we are with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They didn't even make a fist to say the Snakes. The Phoenix Snakes is a more metal team name than the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona, kind of metal. Phoenix, the least metal part of Arizona. I wish I had the fortitude of Doug to give them a 0. But being somewhat more timid, I will give them a 1. A shameful 1. That should be a 0.
I don't like my name being involved with the word timid, so I'm going to reduce my 1 to a 0.
I think Matt's one of them Hirshhorn people.
Hey, I actually am a member of the Hirsch.
Dave,
well, I'm a member of the Museum of American Art, or whatever the other, where you get to see the bad American art.
The American.
Wow.
Mountains and horses.
We stuck it onto the portrait museum just to trick people into going. I made a wrong turn, and it's a sculpture of a boxer.
Dave, what do you got?
I got 1 point.
One point.
You know what, Tim? The promise of the metalness of serpentry is all that point
Serpentry
can be attributed to. Right. No. Yes, that's it. 1 point.
I would also like to point out that Dave and I have given the correct serpentine score of just one wiggly snake in our 1 point.
Okay, well, that wraps it up. All right, so let's look at leagues, divisions, bottom 10 and top 10. How about that?
All right.
All right.
All right.
So the two leagues are incredibly close in medal score, with the American League losing to the National League
Wow.
66.28 to 66.87.
Oof.
That seems right to me, though.
Very close. Yeah, they're equally metal, not metal. So, the divisions. The most metal division is the Central National League division. Who's in that? I already lost track. So that's the Brewers, Cardinals, Reds, Cubs, Pirates, followed by the American League Central. So your central divisions are your most metal division. So the American League Central is White Sox, Guardians, Tigers, Royals, Twins. Wow. Someone else is doing some heavy lifting, because the Royals and Twins were very poorly rated. Very not metal. And then the American League East, the American League West. National League West, AL East, AL West, NL East. So
this kind of works with like baseball being the sport of the heartland, like the most metal teams.
Yeah, so I guess the West is slightly more metal than the East as well. So
yeah.
Okay. Bottom 10. So this is decreasing metalness. Colorado Rockies, Chicago
Way
Cubs,
too high.
Houston Astros, Philadelphia Phillies, Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins, Texas Rangers, Atlanta Braves not in last.
Wow.
Tied for last are the Arizona D-Bags and the Washington Nationals. They are the least metal teams.
You know, even though I'm a participant, I never cease to be amazed how goddamn objective and true these rankings are.
It's so impressive. Week after week.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So here are your top 10 medalist teams in Major League Baseball, starting with number 10 and working our way up to the most metal team. Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago White Sox, San Francisco Giants, New York Yankees, Miami Marlins, Pittsburgh Pirates, Milwaukee Brewers. Top 3, I need the drum rolls. Cleveland Guardians.
Yes.
Baltimore Orioles. And the most metal team are the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
Applause. Very good.
Surprise come from behind finish, beating out the showrunner bias pick, one we thought would win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've established we're not biased.
Yeah, we're not biased.
We have very good reasons
I
for
think
the Orioles to be ranked that high. And, still, once again, the Reds are more metal, and we are able to recognize that because we are objective.
Also, partial.
We're shooting from the hip with our initial pronouncements, but the objective system has revealed something more nuanced, something denser, more progressive, maybe.
And I'm excited because before the episode, I bet $10 that the Cincinnati Reds would be the most metal team. And I have this crisp $100 bill to celebrate my winnings now.
We should get.
Congratulations, Matthew. Yes. Congratulations to the Cincinnati Reds, I guess.
Call me PD Baseball.
Oh, and your most medium.
Yeah,
the most medium metal teams would be the Seattle Mariners and the Oakland A's.
And they're pretty medium metal.
Yeah.
And are all the birds
you expand
lower?
That the Blue Jays and the Mets. That's perfect.
Yeah, we have worked out great.
We have a bird region in the rankings. It's like,
I think
if you're a yeah, we do. And right below them are the Angels and Rays, which are somewhat bird-like.
Yeah, I think we'll probably publish the plots or the rankings probably on podcastthemdown.com. So check it out there.
But don't use hashtag MBR for those, because that's something different.
And shut up. And we do have more leagues to do. We need to decide if we're going to do the CFL or the NBA next. CFL's not going to take long.
That's true.
Yeah. So until next time, unless you have closing, do you think?
No, go ahead.
That's it.
Until next time, keep on cheating, Cincinnati.
So Tim,
they sell you chili, but it ain't chili. Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Just off the top of your head, associate a number with the Minnesota Twins. What would it be?
2 for Twins.
Yeah. Perfectly.
That's what I gave it. Yes.
And holy shit.
Tim will have to watch the episode. So he wouldn't come off 3.
Their cohort score is 1.78, which rounds up to 2. That's the sound of my head exploding if you're listening to the podcast.